Hello, hi everybody, it's Annette Capri from the Quantum Dojo. So today I just wanted to go through a couple of quick things that we didn't get to last week in the $1 Million Missions, and it's really an important part of the way that you look at what the current results that you're getting. Sometimes if we talk about inner alchemy to people, they feel like it's some kind of attack on themselves, and it's something a lot of people will be very much of the mindset of, oh, I don't need that, I just need the strategy, or I just need this. I saw a guy today, so obviously it's men's world, kind of men's health, mental health, talking about his time in therapy. Oh, this is my cat, one of them. And he was talking about the fact that for the last 10 years he'd been going to therapy. And what he was talking about is his experience of it. Now, we don't offer therapy, that's not what we do inside the Inner Alchemy, but I thought it was a really important kind of point that he had to make. And he talked about how he believes that most of his results have come from the fact that he invested in himself in therapy for 10 solid years. So for that, I think my cat wants to come and do something today. So for that, he was talking about, the first couple of years he was, he said in his own words, were like ranting and rabbling about this, that and the other. Then he started to be a bit more observant to himself. Then he started to be a bit more observant to situations, circumstances, people, things that are happening in his life, to the degree that once he reached what I would call in sort of Chinese wisdom would call Wu Wei, the art of non-attachment. So he then brought himself to a place of awareness where he could detach. And when I mean detach more an emotional thing. So you're not reactive, you're more proactive. Most people are externally driven, so they're reactive to their circumstances. So that would be, if we look at a business owner, that would be something like, oh, the business owner feels overwhelmed, there's lots of different things to do. The business owner feels like that, they're stuck because they're trying to get to a certain place, or maybe they don't have enough people to talk to, or they're maybe not working with the right people at the moment, or maybe people aren't paying them what they feel that their services or products or whatever should be sold for, whatever the thing. So they're kind of stuck or overwhelmed in some kind of way. He's just turned my do not disturb off, so I'm just going to put it back on because otherwise this thing will start pinging. And I am not going to delete this, I'm going to carry on, because the thing sometimes when you're working, working for yourself, working online and everything, you're going to have to roll with the punches, and things happen, technology happens, animals happen, kids happen, all kinds of things happen, and you just got to keep going with it. I think people are long past this need for everything to look polished and perfect and pristine before we get going. We've really got to employ the 80-20 rule here, that 80% of your efforts are going to be that 20%, meaning that if you are having a particular problem at the moment, I can guarantee that you're not putting enough time on the solution to that problem. And it could be one of two reasons: you don't actually know what it is you're supposed to be doing, or you can't quite identify the problem, or you maybe haven't got the right tools for it. So just coming back to this, a lot of the times for people that are very mission driven, people who want to make changes out there, people who are in transformation, people who just want to do something good for other people, they're really driven by impact. Okay, impact is the thing that most bothers them, because they want to reach a lot of people with their messages and their missions. Income, obviously we talked about before, is a huge driver. Two metrics for income that are really important. Impact is measured by your income. So I'll give you a quick example of that. Lots of people are not happy by the amount that movie stars earn, or high profile footballers earn, or anybody in sports or whatever. And some people, it really annoys them. They're like, well, I don't think that's fair. Why is that person getting hundreds of millions a year to do whatever? And it's this, because whilst that might be a sport, and whilst that might be entertainment, it's their pay has been governed by their impact. So if you've got a film that will say, like, it's blown up all box office records for the weekend, and I don't know, 10 million people have gone to see it, or it's some kind of World Cup football event and millions of people have watched it around the globe, that's why they get paid the big bucks. And sometimes, and I understand it's really frustrating, because then if we go down to people who we consider to be not paid well enough, let's look at nurses or something like that, we'd go, oh, they're not really paid enough, and they're not, so we're not going to condone that they're paid enough, because they're not. But at the same time, that money has been worked out pro rata in terms of all the services given by that particular health authority and how much they've got to pay out and so on and so forth. I'm certainly not saying that's fair and that's right. I'm just giving you the comparison as to how those monies are worked out. So we have to look at this goes hand in hand with that most of the time. Okay, now where it comes to that, or you can not see, that's just off the part here. I'll just move this around a little bit. So in terms of the inner alchemy and energy, that says, I'll take a quick screenshot of that. So the inner alchemy, I call it alchemy because the thing is, if you do any kind of investment on yourself, so if you meditate, if you do self-care work, if you sleep properly, if you eat properly, if you have water, if you have less stress in your life and don't have pets walking across your videos, and so on and so forth, those things are what you are putting inside you, and then that will bring a reflection out. So the energetics are wildly important. Okay, now again, that's an internal, not an external, but most people will overlook the internal because they're very heavily focused on the external, and that is twofold. Again, society has done that to us in the sense of we've just been brain and trained to only care about, you know, from school, the grades you get, the college you go to, what kind of job you have, what kind of car you drive, you know, your zip code, blah blah blah. It's been really indoctrinated in people, so people can only think about external. It's just that. Secondly, internal, seen as more feminine, seen as more yin, seen as more softer skills, has been downplayed because we're up playing, you know, strategic and success, and you know what, me getting something that stamps me on the map. That's all really yang driven. Now, I'm not saying that those things aren't important, but they cannot be important to the detriment of the yin. So I pretty much 99% of the time, if I see somebody with an external yang problem, I know it's coming from the yin, because the yin will be down here and the yang will be up there and they're not in balance. Sometimes it can be the other way around, that somebody's doing so much inner work and so much work on themselves, which is amazing, but then they're not putting as much time, effort and focus in the yang, so then they're the other way around, they're not getting any results at all, but they are happy, healthy, balanced and sort of, you know, magical, but then they're like, I'm not really getting the results in my business. But that's because a business is a living organism. It has to have action, it has to have some kind of you know, energy put into it. So really we want to get this balance. So for the impact income thing, what we need to look at is to say, okay, what is it, how many people do I want to impact, what is it I want to inspire? And you know, I always do this. If I work out a mission map, I will say to somebody, okay, give me the figures first, because I want to know the figures for both. I want to know, do you work on one-on-one? Do you work in a group? Do you, you know, do events? What is it that you do? How do you do it? What did you love to do? What do you not like to do? I need to know all these different components. Then I need to look at the price points of everything, and then I need to match that. I need to create something so that the person is in love with doing it. Because if you get given a strategy that maybe gives you the income you want, and it should make that reach of impact, but your heart's not in it and you're not balanced and aligned to it, you're not going to hit it, because it's going to be soul sucking to you. So every strategy has to be different for every person, because everybody's got different priorities, different ways of living, different clocks that they're working on, time zones, this and that and the other. So every single factor has to be taken into account to create this. Now, once we have that and we have like a figure, so somebody might say to me, I want to make 250 a year, 500,000, 1 million, 10 million, whatever. The money really doesn't matter to me when I work it out. It's just more about, I need to know, where are you thinking in terms of where you want your impact to go, and what is the income ratios. And then we have to work out, is that correct? And correct is twofold here. One, we've got market levels. What is the market currently paying for something? Now, you can be above the market and you can be below the market. It's not to say the market is king, it just means that we need to roughly know. So if, for example, I was selling an online course in painting, let's say, but I was not an accomplished artist. Nobody had ever heard of me. Let's say I wasn't even that good. Is somebody going to pay a premium for my art course? No, they're not. Now let's swing it the other way around. Let's pretend my art's been featured here, there and everywhere. Let's say I'm quite sought after for my kind of art. Is my work going to be paid as a premium? Yes, it is. So sometimes you've got to build these things. You've got to take a lot of different factors into consideration. And the one that I really wanted to hone in on today, where this guy was going in terms of talking about his therapy, the reason why I thought it was a beautiful thing is A, because it was a man talking about 10 years of therapy, and I think we need to have more conversations about that, because men in particular, and I am going to be a bit sexist here, tend to struggle from an egoic perspective of A, even admitting that they need any help, because help is then considered weak, and that's not very manly, and that's not warrior-like and all the rest of it. And secondly, if I ask for help or I am in need of any help, then everybody else is going to know about it, and then it's going to make me look bad. I'm going to feel bad, and this is going down a track I don't want to be going down. Not true. What he was actually sort of selling, promoting, if you like, was the reverse of it. He had the complete aha moment of, actually, the reverse is true. It's completely reverse engineered by me saying, I'm just going to go and do this thing and see how I get on with it, and really, really investing time, money, effort, energy, and the space to it. I mean, 10 years is a long time to do this every week for, and then see the rewards and the jewels and the gifts, and then be able to transpose map that over to the strategic elements and go, there's something to this inner work malarkey, that the more I do this for me, my external improves. Interesting. And that's something that I'm wildly passionate about in terms of conscious business, of having people understand that this yin and yang has got to be balanced. You can't be out of balance. And if somebody comes to me and say, I feel really angry about that, or I'm frustrated about that, or I'm sad about this, or I'm this and that and the other, those emotions come from the inner alchemy side. They come from you. So if your external is not matching, and so your internal is having, like an emotional sort of show of different kind of emotions, that's the problem. But people will attack it just on the external, but you can't. You've got to attack it on the inside. And what I think is really, really important, so when we do messaging, and when we look at how we speak to people and how we share what we do, and I don't mean we as in us, I mean as in the collective, often, I always say to people, you can't see my belts, yeah, a little bit down there. I always say to people, remember, you're like a black belt in what you do, and you could be talking to somebody who's a white belt in it. They're just coming to it, they're just learning about it, or maybe they've got some experience, whatever. But you can't talk to them at black belt level. You've got to talk to them more, meet them at the level where they're at, because otherwise you just, swishing a load of terminology and info at them, and they're, glazing over because they can't understand what you do, what you're talking about, doesn't really relate to them, and they don't really see how that's going to make any improvement to them, because you're not coming back. When I say coming down, I don't mean down to a level like anyone's better than anybody else. I just mean it's like if I went to let's get back to the acting thing. So let's say I met an actor today, and then, okay, here's the script, and go away, go and act that script. Well, I'm not an actress. I've never been trained in acting in my life. I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd probably be reading from the lines, and it would be absolutely awful because I'm not a master at acting. So you can't expect somebody to be. So I think the thing here is that this whole point of meeting people. Now, this extra piece here, there's a layer that I got from reading about this counselling that I thought, that is genius. And it was talking about meet people where you've met yourself. That is genius. And I'll tell you why it is. Because if you are, let's just say you're at a mastery level in what you do, fantastic, amazing. Okay, remember that you can't speak to other people about your products, services, and so on if they're not a master at that thing, because it's highly likely you're selling master to master. It could be because, for example, giving my own example, as a master instructor, when I used to have a martial arts academy, I used to have other black belts bring their kids to me when we had a kids' school, and I used to be like, why would you do that? You're already, the same as me, or higher up or lower down, whatever. And they'd go, and I didn't have kids at the time. They went, no, honestly, you have the kids. And I didn't really get it. Once I had kids, I went, oh yeah, well, they won't listen to you because you're mummy or daddy or whatever. And so actually you do want another master. You do want somebody else to give those kids to, because it's peer to peer. It's like, you know, the quality and the standard, and you want that person to receive it, but not necessarily from you. Or you could be a master painter and they're a master painter, but you want to maybe collaborate so you can get more juiciness out of learning from each other. That they're all different examples, but let's pretend we're not doing master to master here. We're doing you know, somebody at a mastery level of something helping somebody who's got a genius level in something else, and they just need that service, product, whatever it might be. Okay, now, two things. We need to talk to them at the level that they're at within the understanding of that particular subject. And always remember, on this planet, because there's thousands of topics, that there's always going to be people that know more in different sectors than you do. And going back to this thing of therapy, that is fine. It is okay, particularly as an entrepreneur. You haven't got to be the master of everything. You haven't got to know everything. You haven't got to be the be all and end all of everything. So we need to get rid of that. Secondly, meet people where you've met yourself. Should be first, actually. So I want to put first on the end of that. First. Because if you have only had a particular inner journey to a certain level, always remember that you're operating in the space of you know what you know. You don't know what you don't know. And therefore, you can't go beyond. It's that rubber band thing, what personal development always says, that, you know, like once the rubber band's been stretched, it can't go back. But at this point, let's say the rubber band's just here and we haven't stretched it out there, we don't know that bit yet. There's a void there. We don't know that. So we can only meet people where we've been. And that to me is one of the fundamental biggest reasons why constant, we used to call it in martial arts, we used to call it constant never-ending improvement. It just used to be one of the standard things for your ongoing training and development. It was fostering this idea within black belts that you're always in development. Now, there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing about people being anything wrong with them at all. It's just this constant idea of going, I could learn something new, I can discover something, I could develop something, I could have an experience. And that also is discernment, because it means that I could have an experience in something and go, ooh, I really didn't like that, so I don't want to do any more of that. Or that's something that I really need to find somebody who loves it, who's a genius at it, because I need to give it to them. That's not my thing. Other times you can go through experiences and go, oh, I've actually found that I really love that. So going back to what I said about this part, about the mission map, I'll often set that up with people and I'll send them down little paths, and then they have the reports and they come back and they go, oh, that one was amazing, I loved it, let's do more of that. Oh, that one, I thought I'd really love it, but now I've done it, I actually, no, I don't want, that's not for me, don't want to do it. So equal feedback is important. So going back to the inner alchemy, you want to be on this constant thing of meet people where you've met yourself first, because you need to understand not only where they are, but where you are. And only awareness and only your constant and never-ending development is going to give you that. Because this goes back to the black belt thing again. It's going back to the fact that otherwise you're trying to speak in a language that either the person you are trying to promote things to, pitch to, sell to, share with, offer to, whatever you want to call it, is either not going to understand you, or you're not understanding them. Because maybe they've had a different experience and you're really not quite absorbing what it is that they're saying. So it's really, really important that this inner alchemy, and I use the word energy there, I don't know whether you can see this here. So energy and activation. So we have 3 levels: activate, elevate, accelerate. Activation is all about the energy. What are your thoughts, feelings, behaviours, habits, talk, actions, daily method of ops, all the rest of it? What do they look like? So for example, if you, I obviously talk to lots and lots of entrepreneurs, and if somebody's saying to me, oh, I'm not happy with my results, I want to get 3 to 5 clients in this month on my program, on my course, whatever it is, but I've got nobody and I'm just not happy about it. Okay, so I'm going to say, okay, so what did you do? Oh, well, I posted on social media. Okay, what did you do? Oh, that I posted on social media. And I'm like, that is not marketing. That is not sharing and offering pretty much anything. That is just pure visibility. So what I'm trying to say to you, you know, the entrepreneurial path is very much like growing up. You have to take accountability and responsibility for your actions. So if you're not getting a particular result, that's because of you. And it's because of two things: your inner energy that you're giving out and your external actions. There's only those two. Now, also there's little subtitles, subdivisions of those, but it's always going to come down to those two. What is the energy and intent and whatever you're putting out there, energetically wise, and then what are you actually strategically doing? So you cannot say, I've posted a little bit on Facebook, I've had a few conversations, I've DM'd a couple of people or whatever, and it didn't work. Oh, I spent $5,000 on Facebook ads and it didn't work. Oh, I built a website and it didn't work. No, that's one little piece of the pie. This is why activation is level 1. Energetic activation is level 1. Elevate is really starting to get into elevating what you're currently doing into something that's actually going to make some results. One mentor taught me 20 odd years ago, maybe more, I can't remember, and he used to say to me, Annette, people are busy doing the busy. And I was like, how do you mean everybody's busy? I got the busy, I understood what it meant by busy. And then the penny dropped and I went, oh, I see what you mean. Because if people are busy doing the busy, it means they're not busy doing the needle movers. They're not doing the things that they should be doing to move the needle to the direction that they want. So I can guarantee to any entrepreneur that's not getting the results that they're doing right now, is because they're not focused on the right things. And they're not focused on the right things for two reasons as we go back. A, their inner energy is out. They are probably putting across the wrong things. Secondly, they are probably not following the right strategy because they probably don't really know what they're doing. And it doesn't matter if you've watched a gazillion YouTube videos, join this program, that group, the other group, you're all over the place. It has to be really brought back in. That's why I'll talk about black belt focus, black belt thinking and that. And the reason why I use that is because the discipline of a ninja daily op, so daily sort of method of operations, all that is what are your needle movers? And they're the top things you do every day. If you're not doing them, you can't complain about your results. If you're busy doing the busy, which is basically anything else but, oh, I've been chatting to people, I've been on this platform, that platform, I've posted this, I've posted that, I've chit-chatted here, there and everywhere, I'm sitting complaining and whining over here. No, that is not marketing, that is not sharing and offering. So elevate is looking at the creative media. What do you have right now? What could we elevate? What could we improve? What could we really get so it speaks to your audience? Then we go on to this acceleration. Acceleration can only be made by doing the right strategic parts for your business. So for some people, outreach, for some people, ads, for some people, JVs, some people, PR and paid sponsorships and all kinds of strategic alliances. There's 100 different ways. And it's about learning which ones are right for you and for your business. And again, that is not just random out of thin air. That goes back to this whole impact income thing of having a map written out for you that is actually going to show you, okay, this is who you are, this is what you do, this is how you do it, these are the people you want to serve, this is how much you want to serve them, this is what a year time frame looks like for you, these are the creative media things that we need to work on, and this is your digital marketing. These are the things that you need to have in place. Now, all of that can be budgeted. So obviously there's a difference. If somebody comes in and they go, okay, I've got $10,000 or I've got $200,000, of course, everybody's got different budgets and different levels, but that doesn't matter. You start with where you are right now and then you aspire to. So this activation, elevation, acceleration can be gone through time and time again because it's about refining and defining all the time. So you start at whichever level you are now, then you get to the next level, do it again, go to the next level, do it again. Because one thing that entrepreneurs do not take and understand in terms of energetics is you can only create the income and impact to the level that you are at right now. So you personally might not have earned over 50 grand a year. You personally might not have earned over 100 or 200 or 300 or whatever it is for you. And if you've got a ceiling, guaranteed it's in the inner alchemy, it's in the energetic, so you're never going to get past it. So you have to kind of be reinvented every time. It's like a snake shedding its skin. You're going to have to keep going through that renewal process to be able to get to the next level. And literally in the thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs I've met and worked with, including myself, it never, ever, ever fails to be one of those things. Every time I go through a high point and I look back and I can see what's happened, I've got, oh, okay, I've had people working with me on this. Okay, right, dream team, fantastic. Things not so good, not where I want them, unhappy, you know, ill, stressed out, income issues, whatever it might be. I'm like, oh, okay, didn't have anybody helping me, didn't have this in place, didn't have any other place. Never without fail. And the time that really, really learnt that lesson for me is when I was competing in martial arts, which is why I put this place together in the first place. It's because what I recognised is if I went out there as a solo competitor, I would do, I'd do all right. I had good training, I had good coaching, blah, blah, blah. On the mats, you know, I was a pretty good fighter, so I could fight. Okay, great, awesome. Getting number one spots, winning championships, only when I had multiple mentors, coaches, a team, and we had that energy. We had the energy right, we had the training right, we had the strategy right. And remember, obviously, in terms of something like competitive fighting, the strategy is changing by the minute and by the opponent. So you've got your corner and you've got people watching. They're watching the other person and they know you. So they know you and what your capabilities are. And they're looking at that opponent. So they're like, switch this, do that, do that, do it. And to the degree your success is how fast you can be flexible and keep moving. And I think that's very much like entrepreneurial life. You've got to be adaptable. You cannot be stuck in the mud and you can't be stuck around whining and moaning about things. You've literally got to be at a point where, okay, I'll take a step back, I'll survey the land, I'll get people in to help, and then I'll make my move forwards again. So I'm going to finish this video with this cat that will not stop meowing. I hope that's been helpful. I'm going to take a screenshot of that and put it underneath the video. But as ever, if you want to talk to somebody about your mission strategy, please do get in touch with us. It is a complimentary session, and we just basically find out information about you and find out what would actually make a difference to you, and if indeed we can help you with that or not, because obviously that's not always the case. Some people we can, some people can't. So if you want to do that, let us know. Just drop us a note behind or DM us or whatever, and we can set up a call for you. But I'm going to keep posting some of these things, and let me know some feedback on this and things that you want to go into more depth with on next videos, and things that would make a difference for you. Okay, take care. Have a great day. Bye bye.